So you can be giving leaders around you that you are pouring into all of the right information, all the right stuff, and them not see multiplying movement. Now, of course, at the end of the day, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take the power of God to see this happen. But there's another factor that we've got to talk about if you're going to see your leaders see multiplication. And in this video, we're going to share with you what that factor is and unpack it. So stay tuned as we talk about the role of what I'm going to call withness in seeing multiplying leaders that multiply leaders until there is no place left. That's coming up. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Multiplying Disciples channel. My name is Mark. And here on this channel, we break down the simple reproducing life of Jesus and share with you what we can learn from that, the principles out of that in a reproducing way so that you can see in your context a multiplying movement by the grace of God. It's going to take His power, right? But as we begin to do what we can do, we make space for God to do what He does, and that's what this channel is about. So if this is helpful content for you, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, to hit that bell notification so that this shows up in your feed, and also leave a like on the video. All that helps the YouTube algorithm. So in this video, I want to bring in a factor that we haven't talked about enough as we're talking about this idea of multipliers, and that factor is withness. So when Jesus looked for His leaders, He went about Galilee in Mark 1 and 2, and He is sowing the seed, and He is calling people to follow Him, that He's going to make them become fishers of men. And he's sowing the seed broadly with a lot of people. In fact, he will come to a town and He'll tell them as they begin to follow Him, I've got to move on because this is why I've come out, to share this good news broadly, widely. But then there comes a point when He calls the crowds to Him, and out of the crowd, after spending time all night, we learn that he prays, and He feels the Father highlight to Him these leaders that are to be His apostles. And He gives them two specific tasks. And this is the reason why He calls them, that they might be with Him, and then He might send them out to preach and to have authority to cast out demons and demonstrate this good news. So the first half of the reason why He calls them is that they might be with Him. And there's a reason for this. You know, we can, as we are raising up disciples and seeing churches planted and getting the gospel out there, which is what we are called to do, we can be doing all the right stuff. We can be doing the right activity. We can even be giving our disciples the right information, the right principles for multiplication, but them not actually see it happen. And there's a reason for this, because there is a transference of the DNA of the kingdom. And this is assuming, first of all, that we're living this out, but it happens through withness. There's a reason why Jesus opened up His life and began to spend time with these leaders, with these disciples in the harvest as He went. And so we use an acronym oftentimes as we're talking about leadership development, and that acronym is MALL: model, assist, watch, and launch or leave, depending on who you talk to. So leave the skill with that person, not leave the person. But model, assist, watch, and launch is the acronym. Now, here's the deal. What we have a tendency to do in the West, especially, I'm going to pick on the Western context today, is that we have a tendency to do two letters out of the four. And I bet you can guess what those two letters are. We model and we leave or launch. And so this is kind of what happens in our traditional Sunday morning gatherings. You come in, you hear a message, and then go out and you figure it out. And there's no actual transference of a way of life because there's no time with. It's not built into the culture. Now, this is not just happening on Sunday mornings in a legacy church setting, but this happens in movement settings, right? Where you tend to get the guy who goes in and their generational map looks something like this, where there is a wide number of people that they're pouring into, a lot of people that they've got going, but no depth where that gets passed on. They're doing a lot of this, where they go in, they model, they introduce concepts, they share information, and then leave, move on. They go in, they model, they introduce concepts, they hope that this guy's going to grab it, run with it, and they leave. Jesus did not do that. Jesus found these few and he really doubled down on the first two letters of MAWL or MAWL, and that was the modeling and assisting, because it was in modeling and assisting that the withness that Jesus called them to happened. Think about this. As Jesus went throughout Galilee, as Jesus went throughout the region and was beginning this movement that would change the world down to today, he spent a lot of time modeling, showing them what the kingdom looked like by doing it, by healing the sick, by proclaiming, by going into new people and new places and bringing them along. And then he began to assist them. So he began to help them to do it as well. Hey, you give them something to eat. He's telling to his disciples to go in and multiply the food. You give them something to eat. As they begin to go out to the towns and villages ahead of him, He's assisting them. He's showing them how to do this. And then later on, he's going to watch them as they begin to go and do it on their own. And then really, he launches them out to begin to lead the movement on their own. But the reality is Jesus came to bring a kingdom that they didn't understand. And all these disciples around him, they thought they understood what he was doing, right? They thought that he was going to go to Jerusalem and set up this big geographic kingdom that was political on the spot, and they were going to overthrow Rome and they were going to be the kingdom, right? Not so. Jesus came to die, and Jesus came to lay down his life for a few that would pour into a few others. He came to multiply the kingdom and give it away as a servant, not as one reigning and ruling over. And so they had the wrong mindset. They had the wrong way of thinking. They were trying to add all these people and grow this geographic thing. He needed their mindset to be multiplication. How did he get them there? It was time with them. It was time with them in the harvest, modeling and assisting. Modeling and assisting. And then, yes, later watching and launching them. But the reality is the withness of the kingdom happened through modeling and assisting. Hey, come watch me do this. Come watch me do it again. Come watch me do it again. Let me help you do it. Let me help you do it. Let me help you do it. And in the modeling and assisting, the mindset of his disciples that became his leaders began to shift. You know, I have seen that as I have begun to pour into leaders, and God has begun to bring forth multiplication, that the reality is leaders come in, especially those who have been a part of the church setting, the legacy church setting, and they unknowingly have an addition mindset. And that addition mindset looks like, or a gathering mindset where they're going to model it, and then they're going to go do it. You go do it. You go apply. You go figure it out. And it's a philosophical application mindset. That's what our Western way of thinking does, is you get information, and then the philosophy is now you've got the information, you understand it, you go apply it, you go figure it out. But the reality is the shift to helping leaders think in terms of multiplication and then helping their leaders think in terms of multiplication is modeling and assisting. And this tool that we've been talking about lately of 139. There's a reason why 139 works and why 139 as a tool is so effective at raising up leaders, because it causes leaders to focus on a few and to then push to multiplication. If you begin to ask that question enough, how are your three and how are their three doing? First of all, it communicates who are your few, not who are your 20. But then it begins to point them and almost challenge them to ask this question, are my three becoming three more? And if not, why not? What's wrong with my methods? What am I missing? What's happening in there? And as we begin to ask that question over and over again, it directs people into the reality and the need for modeling and assisting with a faithful few. So I guess in this video, what I wanted to drive home to you is that it is leaders that we need to be focused on as movement leaders, pouring into other leaders to really maximize what it's going to take to reach the nations for Jesus and see no place left happen. And in focusing on leaders, we've got to do what Jesus did. Jesus didn't just give his leaders information and, hey, go do it. He did a lot of modeling and assisting through withness in opening up his life. So how do you need to open up your life so that you get more time with your leaders, so that you get 60 to 90 days a year where you are just spending time with them? And sometimes it's unplanned and unagenda time, but a lot of time that you are showing them how this works in the harvest, in the field, as you are working alongside them and transferring those skills and that confidence and that way of thinking so that they begin to think like a multiplier. Hope that's helpful for you guys. I will see you guys next time.